Aubrey loves Mary had
Well,
Aubrey
look forward.
Grinches. Oh my God, she plays with it every day. Mommy, I
No,
know.
this is her.
County that I could get you an answer from.
Really?
I don't know if it's just,
She didn't say what party she was in her
anyway, Mark Dean's the president. Well, I think we'll table it for now. I knew I had the votes there because right now there's, out of 11 board members, 8 of them are county commissioners. They even changed Mark Dean's viewpoint on that, so that was pretty good.
Yes, I agree. No, I was gonna email you that I agree with you. I thought I could sleep later than I should have.
Welcome to teenage.
Welcome to our December 16th, 2025 Board of Commissioner meeting. Our first item on the agenda is please stand and join me for the pledge if you are able. Thank you, everyone. Second item, agenda review. Bob.
So, Mr. Chair, there is one change to the agenda this morning. The public comment, the Beckles had some concern about snow plowing on County Road 27, but have connected with the Public Works Director, so they have asked to be removed from the agenda today.
Thank you.
Move to approve with the change. Second.
Got a motion and a second for the agenda with the change. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
Move to recess for economic development.
Got a motion, do I have a second for recess? Yep, got a motion and a second, recess. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. I will now call the meeting of the Economic Development Authority to order. Bob, agenda review.
Mr. Chair, there are no changes to the agenda
Got
today.
a motion for the agenda. Got a motion, got a second. Any discussion on the agenda? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Next, I will review the October 21st minutes. Can I get a motion and a second for the minutes?
So moved. Second.
Got a motion and a second for the October Economic Development Authority minutes. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. The next item is the Minnesota Cities Participation Program application. Good morning, Nancy. How are you today?
Good morning, Nancy.
So today we are bringing before you the application for the Minnesota Cities Participation Program, and that is a first-time homebuyer program that we bond with the state of Minnesota on, and local homebuyers work directly with participating lenders here in our community, and the mortgages are handled directly through Minnesota Housing. So it's very little administrative work on our side. Actually, it's just the application that we sign, and we get reports every year from the state on doing this. I did provide you with some information. We've been doing this program since 2017, so kind of gave you that history. We ranged from 17 home buyers to 49 last year, so seeing a real mixture of families utilizing that program. This year we were at 29 through October, and hoping to see a few more before the end of the year here happen with that. We did also work with the state. They did a presentation, and we noticed that there were counties around us that were not participating in this program, so we did get in contact even with, yesterday I talked with Nicollet County, and they were unfamiliar with the program, so they are looking at that right now and actually hopefully they'll be able to put in their own application. But this application would go in January 2nd, and we just needed authorization of the board to submit this application.
All right, thank you, Nancy.
I'll move it. Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. The next item is the 2026 EDA Public Housing Operation Budget.
And
Go ahead, Nancy.
every year you are required to approve this operating budget for the public housing program, and also the housing choice voucher budget for the next year. And these budgets were already approved through the city of Mankato, and so it's just a formality to bring it now to you to authorize it as well. And so we do have the voucher program budget there with just over $600,000 a year. And the public housing program also around $679,000 a year.
I move to approve.
Second.
Got a motion and a second for the 2026 EDA Public Housing Budget. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. The next item will be the 2026 Public Housing Capital Fund Program Public Hearing. This hearing provides an opportunity for citizens to submit comments and recommendations for the proposed planning for the public setting. Nancy, would you please give us an overview?
And with this, we give you, we have a 5-year plan for the operating funds. So each year we get around $244,000 for capital improvements. We have maintained the last several years so that we could do the needs assessment work required for HUD through that RAD conversion that will be happening. And I know a couple months ago, Luke came in and actually presented to you the feasibility study to do about $660,000 in improvements to the public housing over the next year as part of that RAD conversion. And so this annual amount here is just for the 2026 that will help us address those needs assessment work next year. We did have a hearing with, or a resident advisory meeting, and they were very pleased to see that these funds would be used in the properties. I think their main concerns, they had issues with needing to have access to fiber optics for and internet services, and they also appreciated that the parking lots were being maintained, and it went through some issues as far as smoking policies and things like that that we worked with them to address. And over the RAD conversion, we have had a number of resident advisory meetings, so they've been used to coming in and talking with us about different things. And so this one was specifically for the capital funds, and in a month we'll do another RAD one. So giving them lots of opportunities to provide us feedback on taking care of the units. So we would just ask you, after the hearing, to approve the capital funds program as presented.
All right, thank you, Nancy. At this time, we will open it up for public comment portion of the hearing. If you would like to make a comment, please come to the podium and state your name and address for the record. Comments from the public are expected to be civil and respectful. Please note this meeting is being recorded and there is a 5-minute time limit. The county administrator will give you a 1-minute warning to let you know when your time is up. In addition, the board may restrict or limit time allocated to a person whose remarks are repetitive or not relevant to the matter under consideration. Is there anyone from the public that would like to comment on the 2026 Public Housing Capital Program? Anyone wishing to comment? Last time, anyone wishing to comment on the 2026 Public Housing Capital Fund Program, please come to the podium and state your name and address. Seeing no public comment, I'll bring it back to the county board for action.
Move to approve.
I'll second.
Okay, got a motion and a second. Any discussion? Thank you for that report, Nancy, and thank you for all your work this last year. This is my last board meeting as chair, so thank you for all your leadership and efforts with the EDA. Appreciate it. Okay, I have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Okay, the final item is Affordable Housing Trust Memorandum of Understanding. Nancy.
And this is just to give you an update of where we are, so if you hear about different projects underway, that you have a framework that they might be coming to us for Housing Trust Fund dollars. And this month we did have to provide the state report on the statewide affordable housing aid dollars, and those were dollars that the county received that we had agreed to be placed in the Housing Trust Fund. And so we reported on the 2023 allocation of $165,141, as well as the 2024 allocation of the same amount. And just notified them in that we have allocated funding for the Community Land Trust with those dollars. And then we wanted to just kind of share with you some of the projects that we believe will be bringing to you in the next several months, as well as into next year. The Homestead Apartments is one of those that we wanted to share with you today. In July, they did have a flood that displaced about 40 families, and they're working on the damages and the costs for reconstructing those units. They do have, they're estimating about $3.34 million in damages, and they do have some other expenses. They have their deductible of the $441,000, and then right now they're up to about $125 in unreimbursable expenses, and so they're still kind of working on finalizing some of those numbers to come back. They could have up to $1 million that they would not be able to cover by their insurance, so just know that they would want to come back and see if there's any way that they could work with the Housing Trust Fund for accessing some of those, even if it's a loan versus a grant. They would be open to having some of those discussions, so wanted to make sure we're aware of that one. The other one is we know that a nighttime shelter operating year-round is really important, and we definitely, the county board has invested a lot of money in addressing homelessness for those in our community, and we have the supportive housing project. But we always knew there was that 24/7 emergency shelter would be something we'd want to see. But in the meantime, while we're working on doing that, Connection Shelter, the nighttime shelter, needs a way to expand their services through the summer, and even Salvation Army has a little bit of a gap in providing summer daytime shelter on the weekends. So for both of those projects, we would hope that we'll be able to come back with you in the next couple months here with a plan for them on being able to expand and looking at other sources of funding, so in the future they can manage that operating fund on their own. And the third item is the Trellis Supportive Housing Project, and that project did get funding through the state, through the low-income housing tax credits, and definitely the support of the county was key in that with the ARPA funding. And they do have those support services where they did receive funding from HUD, but now HUD has a redirection of funds, and they're not allocating as much funding to supportive services as they used to. Here in the state of Minnesota, the Continuum of Cares, we're getting about 83% of our funds went to supportive housing. So reallocating some of those funds could cause them to have a gap in ability to provide services. Your $1 million that you provided to that project is in their reserve funds to cover those support services on a long-term basis. Right now they're looking, that's set up to be 15 years. But if we were to, on the front side here, be able to allocate some support service dollars the first few years, that would allow those funds to maybe expand even 20 years or 30 years. So they're looking at that and looking at the funding that we get from the federal government as well as from the state, and there could be a gap that the trust fund could help. That project won't actually finish construction until probably the first part of 27, so it's kind of on the back burner, but just so you know that they may have this they're wanting to see us spend that within a certain time frame. So we want to make sure that the EDA is looking at other long-term strategies to fund that trust fund on a longer-term basis. So we'll talk to you about what other EDAs and HRAs are doing. They're definitely using the levies and general fund types of things if those resources are available. But the big one that we would want you to really look at is our land conversion. So if you're looking at the public housing and looking to set aside some of those reserve funds that could only be given to a trust fund. So in the coming months, we'll bring in more information on what we're looking at.
Christmas past.
Next item on our list is item 5, planning and zoning. Morning, gentlemen. This is a public comment. Public comment will be allowed in just a moment. As previously stated, comments should be civil and respectful. I ask the planning and zoning staff to please introduce themselves to the record. And then the first item on the board is PZ staff PC 2925.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm George Leary with Blue Earth County Planning and Zoning. PC 29-25 is a request from Cody Oldenborg for review and approval of an interim use permit for a level 2 home occupation to operate a butcher shop. The property is zoned agriculture and is located in part of the southeast quarter of section, don't have that in there, I think it's 6 of Vernon Center Township. The site address is 15942 510th Avenue, Vernon Center, Minnesota. At the Planning Commission, staff presented the staff report. The Planning Commission had no comments or questions. The applicant was present and had no additional comments. There was no public comment or input provided during the public hearing. Following the discussion, the Planning Commission voted unanimously to forward a recommendation of approval to the county board based on the findings and conditions prepared by staff. The board action is passage of the resolution based on the recommendation of the Planning Commission. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, George. At this time, I'll open up the comment portion of the hearing. If you'd like to make a comment on PC 2925, please come to the podium and state your name and address for the record. Anyone wishing to comment on PC 2925, please come to the podium. And last time, anyone wishing to comment on PC 2925, please come to the podium, state your name and address for the record. See no public comment, I'll close the public comment portion of the meeting, bring it back to county board for action.
So moved.
Second?
Got a motion and a second. Any discussion? I know staff worked hard on this and got everything done, so thank you for that. Congratulations to Cody as soon as we wrote here, but good job. Any other, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Next item.
Good morning, Mr. Chair. John Considine, County Zoning Administrator. The next item is PC 30-25. It is a request for review and approval from GSW Exterior Specialists LLC for approval of a Level 2 home occupation to operate a gutter, siding, and window business with on-site storage. The property is zoned agriculture and is part of the southeast quarter of the northwest quarter of Section 28 of Decoria Township. The property address is 17172 State Highway 22, Good Thunder, Minnesota. At the Planning Commission, staff presented the staff report. The Planning Commission had no comments or questions on the proposal, and the applicant was present and had no additional comments. There was no public input provided during the public hearing. Following the discussion, the Planning Commission voted unanimously to forward a recommendation of approval to the county board based on the findings and conditions prepared by staff. And so the board action for this item would be passage of the resolution based on the recommendation of the Planning Commission. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
John, at this time, we'll open up the public comment portion of the hearing. If you'd like to make a comment on PC 30-25, please come to the podium and state your name and address for the record. Anyone wishing to comment on PC 30-25, please come to the podium. And last time, anyone wishing to comment on PC 30-25, please come to the podium, state your name and address for the record. Hearing none, I'll close the public hearing portion of the meeting and bring it back to the county board for action.
Move to approve.
Second. Motion and a second. Did a good job on the staff's time getting this done. Another need for this kind of do something in the rural area. Appreciate that. Any other comments? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. All right, next item.
Our last item this morning is Planning Commission and Board of Adjustment reappointments. Both members of both the Planning Commission and the Board of Adjustment are appointed by the County Board of Commissioners in staggered 3-year terms. This year, 2 members that serve on the Planning Commission and 2 on the Board of Adjustment committees have expiring terms. First, with the Planning Commission, Mr. Daniel Roberts, who is in District 4, has served the Planning Commission since April of 2021. Ms. Taryn Surdy, also of District 4, has served on the Planning Commission since April of 2021. Both of them have expressed their desire to continue to serve on the Planning Commission. If the board elects to reappoint them, their terms will be from January 1st of 2026 through December 31st of 2028. And secondly, the Board of Adjustment. Mr. Michael Dusty Riley of District 4 has served on the Board of Adjustment since February of 2021. And Ms. Taryn Surdy, also of District 4, has served on the Board of Adjustment since April of 2021. Both of them have expressed their desire to continue serving on the Board of Adjustment. If the board elects to reappoint them, their terms will be January 1 of 2026 through December 31st of 2028. Staff requests that the board reappoint both members of the Planning Commission and Board of Adjustment as outlined within the memo. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
All right. So moved. Thank you, John. We got a motion? Second. A motion and a second for the reappointments. Any discussion? The all have been doing a good job. We actually have really good turnout at the planning and zoning meetings. Very seldom have anybody missing, so very dedicated board. All right, I have a motion and a second. If there's no further discussion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Looks like that's it for our planning and zoning stuff. Thanks for all your work this year. Appreciate it, you guys.
Thank you.
Yes. All right, now we move down to some drainage items. Good morning, Mark.
Good morning.
So it looks like we got County Ditch 1, the viewers report reconsideration.
Thank you, Mr. Chair and Commissioners. Mark Manderfeld, Blue Earth County Property and Environmental Resources. I'm filling in for Craig Austinson today. We do have the County Ditch 1 improvement for public drainage system, a request to resubmit the viewers report to viewers for reconsideration. A little bit of background around the system. Blue Earth County Ditch number 1 watershed is approximately 2,600 acres in size and is located in McPherson Township. A petition for improvement was received in February of '24. In April of '24, the Drainage Authority appointed the engineer from ISG. The preliminary survey report was filed with the county in September of '24, and in November of '24, a hearing was held regarding that survey report, and 5 viewers were appointed. A draft viewers reported was submitted in October of 2025 to the drainage staff. The report utilizes benefits determined by a previous viewing team rather than developing independent benefits based on the proposed improvement. Additionally, 5 viewers were originally appointed by the Drainage Authority. However, the draft viewers report was only signed by 1 viewer, which does not meet statutory requirements. Drainage Authority Attorney KLR Van Rugen of Rinke Noonan finds the submitted draft viewers report to be incomplete for the proposed improvement proceedings and recommends the Drainage Authority resubmit to the viewers for additional work. So action requested today is a request of the Drainage Authority to approve the findings and orders which were drafted by our attorney, resubmitting the viewers report to the viewers for consideration.
Right. Thank you, Mark. What are the wishes of the board?
So moved.
Got a motion and a second to authorize the Drainage Authority to approve the viewers to reconsider. Any discussion? This came up at a landowner meeting we had and had good discussion back and forth with the landowners, and Mark was there, and we just want to relook at it. So I think this is a good process for us to take, just to try to keep everybody on the same page. And that's what's so nice about these landowner meetings. Instead of trying to deal with that here, we're dealing with it at a different, more open setting. So appreciate the staff and Mark coming to those meetings and explaining the position. All right, I have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Go ahead.
All right, Mr. Chair. The next item is setting a hearing date for County Ditch 47 for petitions for removal of property. Background on the system: County Ditch 47 watershed is approximately 2,095 benefited acres and is located within Cambria and Butternut Valley Townships. There have been multiple petitions for removal of property from a public drainage system under Minnesota Statute 103E 805, and those were received by our department. In June of 2025, the Drainage Authority for County Ditch 47, by findings and order, appointed a viewer and an engineer to aid in the petitions and give their respective reports. A copy of the draft viewers and engineers' reports for the petitions for removal have been submitted to our department and were in November. So action requested today is the a request of the Drainage Authority to set a date of January 20th, 2026 at 9 a.m. in this room for a final hearing for the petitions for removal of property, including the draft reports.
Thank you, Mark. What are the wishes of the board?
So moved.
Got a second?
Second.
Got a motion and a second to set the hearing date. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Next item.
Mr. Chair, the next item is a repair bid for Judicial Ditch 15 in Lincoln Township. A request for bids for proposed repair work to Judicial Ditch 15 in Lincoln Township for the installation of a new sediment trap structure were sought. The installation of the sediment control structure is a part of a larger previously approved repair performed in 24 and 25 by Selly Excavating. On November 20th, 2025, a quote for the proposed sediment control structure installation was received by Selly Excavating in a lump sum amount of $31,494.77. The engineer's estimate for this repair was $24,953. We did receive only the one bid there, and that was due to it being a part of a larger project that Selly also completed. Blue Earth County has worked with Selly Excavating on past projects with positive results, and staff recommends continuing to work with them on this project. The request of the Drainage Authority is to award the repair contract to Selly in the amount of $31,494.77.
Thank you, Mark. Wishes of the board.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Levies.
Mr. Chair, the last action items here are the approval of the 2026 single and multi-year special drainage system levy based on recommendations by staff through our working group. The background, the following attachments are the single year and multiple year drainage system levies for 2026. Attachment A is the single year levies for the drainage systems, including drainage systems that apply, including the public drainage assessment that applies to all systems. And attachment B lists the multi-year levies for Blue Earth County drainage systems, including assessments for the principal amount payable in 2026 on drainage ditch bonds issued in previous years. New internal financing processes may be used for newly levied multi-year levies, whereas they may be internally financed for all years or for the first year before converting to a bond. Financing method will be determined based on the most financial benefits or most beneficial terms for the property owners. Recommended action, the approval of the attached resolution approving the collection of the special drainage levies in 2026 as identified in the attachments.
All right. Thank you, Mark. What are the wishes of the board?
So move.
Got a motion, do I have a second?
Second.
Got a motion and a second for the drainage levies. Any discussion? I will tell you that we spent an afternoon with Administrator Bob Meyer, Michael Stahlberger, Mark, the two ditch authorities, and Commissioner Papp and myself, and we go through all these ditches one by one and work very diligently trying to get all of them out of the negative balances. We managed to get some out, some go back in. So it's an ongoing process. I will tell you, in my years of experience, that used to take all day to do it. Now we're down to pretty much a couple hours in the afternoon. So the process is getting simpler, and the ditch fund is looking better. But we work extremely hard trying to keep it out of the red. So with that, I have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Mark, for all your help. Appreciate it. Property and environmental resources fee adjustments. Michael Stahlberger, good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Chair, Commissioners. I am bringing forward today tab number 7 for you if you're updating your screens. And for the record, I'm Michael Stahlberger, Director of Property and Environmental Resources for Blue Earth County. As the board is aware, the department maintains several fee schedules for various services that we provide directly to customers. Some of these fees are statutorily mandated, so we cannot adjust them, but other ones are variable based on the services being provided, with a determination as to whether or not the county's general fund should cover those costs when grant dollars aren't available. We review the fees schedules on an annual basis. We brought forward several of these changes to a work session in November so that the board was more aware of some of the changes we were proposing. The changes do affect all of our various divisions and work units, and we'll start with the planning and zoning fees. As I mentioned, discussed at the November work session, we brought forward key changes. Those were related to variance, interim use, and conditional use permit applications. We are increasing those fees to $900 due to the amount of staff time required to assist with the proposals. We are also making changes to the after the fact fee additions that we add on to our permitting process to make sure that that accounts for the work required to bring projects into compliance. I can go into more detail on those changes, but as I mentioned, those were discussed at a work session and they're provided as an attachment in the packet. Okay. With that, then I'm going to move along into our Ponderosa landfill pricing. The staff at the Ponderosa continues to analyze the expenditure and the true cost of landfilling waste and all of the regulatory and maintenance costs associated with that. And so every year we bring fee schedule adjustments for you to make sure that we're complying with regulation, that we're making sure that the landfill can operate as an enterprise fund in a revenue neutral or positive fashion. And then also in that one, we're making sure that we're staying current with our market so that we're not competing with private industry and offering services at a different rate, and also making sure that we're at similar rates as other public landfills as well. So key changes there are cash and customer charge per ton rates are increasing. Our construction demolition material, the C&D rate, is increasing as we continue to prefer that material to go to a C&D landfill. And then we've also increased our minimum charges and our tire disposal rates to make sure that our customers can understand how those fees are charged as opposed to per tonnage rates. The last thing I'll note in that section is that we are increasing our found on work face fees. That is an additional charge that we charge for materials that need to be managed specially, but are oftentimes either purposefully or inadvertently mixed in with actual waste loads. We're trying to change customer behavior there and incentivize the proper disposal of things such as tires, mattresses, and appliances by making sure that we associate an added fee when our crew identifies that material being deposited on the working face of the landfill. So again, those changes are provided as an attachment. We went through those at the work session as well, so I will leave it at that higher level there, if that's okay. Yep. Very good. Mr. Chair, Commissioners, then we're moving into the recording and mapping fees section. This is the section that has many fees that are statutorily mandated and we're not allowed to change them. The reason we're bringing this forward to you is twofold. The first one is to introduce a new fee that we're required to associate with a service that we're now providing starting January 1, 2026. And that is a fee for shielding documents under the state's new document recording policies that are in place for the Judicial Security Program. Qualifying individuals who work in the judicial branch can now have their records retroactively and proactively redacted so that their name and their address are not associated in the public record. We are to charge a $75 per document fee associated with that. So we need to add that into our fee schedules. And we're also adjusting our research fees just to keep in line with what staff time actually costs us now to do that sort of work. So pretty straightforward in the recording areas. We're also doing some minor updates on just the per page fee for making copies for customers. And then lastly, we're also making a change to our basic bundled data package. Folks can purchase our GIS data in bulk, and so we're just bringing that fee up a little bit. Again, all of those schedules are provided as attachments in the packet so that they are part of the record. I can stand for any questions, Mr. Chair. Otherwise, we would be looking for action to accept those fee schedules as documented in the packet today.
Okay, thank you, Michael. Got a motion? Got a second? Got a motion and a second. Any discussion, questions, or comments? Well, I'll make a brief comment. As you mentioned a couple times, that we've talked about these in work sessions, so I do appreciate that. But I just would like to call a little bit of attention to the Ponderosa landfill, because we've had a lot of discussion about that and the fees that are going to be associated with that in the future with all the things we have going on. So I think it's good that we're trying to keep up with what it costs us to run that Ponderosa, and we had good discussion at the work session, but I just thought it was worth mentioning here and the time that we did spend talking about it. So
thank you, Mr.
Appreciate
Chair.
it. Any other discussion? I have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries for the fee structure.
Thank you very much.
Michael. Community corrections. Morning, John.
Good morning. Morning, Mr. Chair and Commissioners. All right, I have 3 items for you today. I'll start with the Prairie Lakes Youth Program contracted bed agreement. Attached to this memo, you'll find a contract agreement with Prairie Lakes Youth Programs for 1 secure bed per day at their program located in Wilmer. This agreement will secure 1 bed per day in detention and secure corrections programming for calendar year 2026. The per diem would be $540 per day, and any costs for unused bed days would be split between Community Corrections and Human Services. The total amount of this agreement would be $197,100. The agreement also includes prioritized access to the non-secure and group home programs. The Prairie Lakes program has been one we've had a contract with for a few years now. It's more of our long-term detention stay location. We also have the contract for Carver that's coming up, but the Prairie Lakes facility is one that we utilize across the continuum of services. So we have somebody maybe located in the group home, their non-secure program, as well as within the secure unit. In 2025, I don't believe we had actually any unused bed days, which is good and bad at the same time. We obviously utilize this agreement with Prairie Lakes quite a bit, and so we do need to continue to utilize them. It's a great resource for us. Obviously, proximity is one of the things we have to deal with our detention facilities. You know, Wilmer is 2 hours away, but it is one of our closer facilities that we can utilize for this reason. So. The thing I will note as well is the increase in the per diem. The 2025 per diem was $440 a day. We are increasing to $540 a day, which is over 22% increase. We continue to see this as well with our residential programs with increase in their per diems for a variety of reasons. So this is a continuation of that theme as well. So an increase of over 22% is a significant jump. Again, I do believe it is something that we do need to continue to utilize. It does alleviate a lot of issues with our juvenile probation officers having to call around the state and utilize you know, programs located in Crookston, Duluth, and we still have to do that at times, but this allows us to have that bed ready and available for us for those long-term stays when we need them. And at this time, we have needed them. I would just respectfully request that the Board of Commissioners approve the contracted bed agreement between Blue Earth County and Prairie Lakes Youth Programs.
Okay, thank you, John.
I'll move it.
Got a motion and a second. Any discussion? I was just going to ask how it's pretty well utilized. I mean,
absolutely, yes, and you know, between us and Human Services, we both utilize it, the group home setting, non-secure and secure.
Okay. It's unfortunate we have to do that, but at least we got a good place, and it's relatively close nowadays.
It saves on scrambling too.
Yeah,
it very much does. You know, we can make that call and secure that bed versus having to make 5 calls and wait to hear back. It kind of guarantees us that, and that peace of mind is also something that we really appreciate having as well.
Sure. All right, I got a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you. All right, on to number 2. This is the contracted bed agreement with Carver County. Attached to the memo, you'll find a contract agreement with Carver County for 1 secure bed per day at the Juvenile Detention Center that's located at their jail. The agreement would secure 1 bed per day in detention for calendar year 2026. The per diem would be $200 a day, and that is consistent. That is the same per diem we paid in 2025 as well. The contract is shared with Nicolet County Community Corrections. The total amount of the contract is $73,000, but with the agreement, Nicolet County compensates Carver County the amount of $12,000, and Blue Earth County compensates Carver County the amount of $61,000. This is based upon an agreement that we've done the past couple of years. We take a look at our use of bed days within Carver County. We use quite a few more bed days than Nicolet County does, but over the years, we've just found this agreement to work out very well. We've never had any issues securing a bed at Carver County as part of this agreement as well. So this has kind of been a good collaborative approach with Nicolet County to kind of maintain a bed at Carver County while also still both being able to utilize the space that they have up there. And again, this isn't an increase of a rate or anything like that. This is consistent with the 2025 rate at $200 per day. I would respectfully request that the Blue Earth County Board of Commissioners approve the contracted bed agreement between Blue Earth County and Carver County. The last thing I'll just note on that too, just to clarify the difference between Prairie Lakes. Prairie Lakes is more of that long-term secure program.
Okay.
In Carver County, we can only hold a juvenile there for up to 8 business days, and then they have to either be released to the community or move to a different facility at that time. So that's just the nuance and difference between the two programs.
Wouldn't we be able to hold them there if we didn't have a contract?
We would be able to hold them there, but again, it's one of those things where it's never guaranteed if you don't have a contract with them. This has really alleviated that first law enforcement call. So if a juvenile is being picked up on a new charge, previously they would have to call around to multiple facilities to see if they would be willing to take their kid. And it's not just utilized by our department is what I'm getting at. So you have a new arrest overnight, instantly we know that we have a bed at Carver available to us versus having to call to Dakota County and Carver and Houston County, which has a facility over in Houston County, and trying to figure out which place you're going to end up going. This has really eliminated that need to make all of those calls, and we know that this is kind of like that first stop. We know we have a spot at Carver County waiting for us.
And also, without a contract, what's the cost?
They're, I believe, at $300 a day without a contract, but I actually didn't even, yes, it's a good rate for us to have this with them, absolutely. And the only counties that actually have priority over us at Carver County is Carver, and then Scott County has an agreement with them as well.
Alrighty.
I would move to approve.
Got a second? Got a motion and a second for the Carver County contract. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you. All right, and my last item for today is the Community Corrections Advisory Board appointments for 2026 and 2027. I would respectfully request that the Board of Commissioners appoint the following individuals to a 2-year term with the Community Corrections Advisory Board. Their term will run from January 1st, 2026 to December 31st, 2027. One of the things I would just note about my membership is it is changing significantly. Just through retirements, people leaving positions. I've had citizen members who have been on the board a very long time who just felt it was a good time for them to step aside and let other people come on board. I've also changed membership from Human Services, and our Community Corrections member I updated as well because we just had so many new faces that were potentially coming on board. So I have Sarah Rose that will be assuming the role of board chair, and we will continue to look for membership. I need to look for Commissioner District 2. And I have another member who's looking to potentially come on board. Those are things I'll just address here in 2026 if I do have additional appointments. But I would just respectfully request appointment of the members to the Community Corrections Advisory Board.
So moved.
Got a motion, a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing no discussion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, John. Have a great day. You too. Human Services, Phil, good morning.
Thanks, Phil.
Good to see you all.
Yes, good to see you, and looks like you got us pretty busy today.
Yeah, the year-end
Yeah.
volume issue with Human Services is represented to some degree. And Mr. Chair, Commissioners, all of the items in my packet are action items. So if there's any questions along the way, stop me by all means. And I'm sorry, I do have that cold that's going around, so I'm struggling a little. First section is Children and Family Services, and it's children's mental health screening. This is an area that crosses over with corrections, as well as John shared some of his action items. We provide mental health services to youth for any uncompensated mental health services, so there is some room there to try to provide some practical needs. One of the biggest things is to just get an assessment if they have not had an assessment, but there's also, like I say, practical things we can do to help a youth that has mental health issues. The grant amount was 96, I mean, is 96,609, which is a decrease of $5,300. And the term is January 1st of 26 through December 31st of 26. Next section is adult and disability services. First one, our transportation contract, WS Transportation, who provides transportation services to individuals on medical assistance and waivered services. The rates remain the same as the previous year, and you'll see the miles at $17.50 a mile, and then if it's up between 46 and 50 miles, it's $76 as a rate. This is a 2-year contract, January 1st of 26 through December 31st of 27. Guardianship contracts, we've historically grouped these together because there are about a half a dozen providers that we use. So guardianship for those that have special needs and a need of guardianship or conservatorship as well. Terms of the contracts are for 2 years. They all are, January 1st of 26 through December 31st of 27. And then the specific rates are as listed below. I'll just read the providers. Alternative Resolutions at $61.33 an hour. Ethical Solutions, $52.49. Lutheran Social Services, $61.02. SMN Guardianship, $51 an hour. Unique Abilities, $51, and Wings Guardianship Services at $51 an hour. Financial assistance, we have another transportation contract for those receiving any of our financial assistance programs under medical assistance umbrella. They allows people to attend their medical and dental appointments through this transportation contract with ACC. Rates are mandated by the state, so we do not set those, and the term is January 1st of 26 through December 31st of 26. Lingua One is an interpreter service for us. The interpreter fees are $70 for the first hour, and then $17.50 for every 15 minutes after that. The translation services are 25 cents per word in the written form. The term, January 1st of 26 through December 31st of 26. South Sudanese Community of Minnesota, they also provide interpreter services. The rates are the same, $70 for the hour, and then $17.50 for additional 15-minute units. And that has not changed from the previous contract. The term, January 1st of 26 through December 31st of 26. Next section is mental health services, Mental Health Center and Brown County Evaluation Center, our detox facility. As you know, the Brown County facility helps us satisfy our statutory mandate for detox, and this includes residents who are within our county and detained by law enforcement here in our county. So that's a unique part of detox. Where we pick them up matters. The per diem increased from 471 to 500, which is an increase of over 6%. The agreement is from January 1st of 26 through December 31st of 26. The next section is child support, and this is our cooperative agreement with Minnesota Department of Human Services, Child Support Division, and it really allows us to operate our enforcement programs. The agreement allows us to claim reimbursement of federal participation for eligible child support related expenses, and the term is January of 26 through December 31st of 26. And then moving in, Mr. Chair and Commissioners, to some administrative items. End of year advisory committee and task force appointments, much like you've heard previously for our task force, are listed in your packet. These are obviously people willing to volunteer to help us serve our mission and provide us a community voice in the work that we do. The 26 appointments are Heidi Sampson and Jessica Wursel, both in District 4, and I will not read the reappointments, but all those people serve faithfully for us as well in that regard. There's also a box of vacancies that are provided for the commissioners' benefit, or maybe it's a request to say if you know of anybody that might serve. We're always interested in that. Noel Brunder is our contact for that, so by all means, if you see or know of anybody that might be willing to serve in this capacity, that would be great to have them contact Noel. And then our operating guidelines also have been updated. There were some wording changes in two main areas, and you'll see those indicated in the packet, but the first one is under Article 4 and under functions. Some wording changes. At times, I think people willing to volunteer are a little bit confused, like what is their role? And that can go from anything of that they just don't understand what we're trying to do in our committees to sometimes maybe going beyond what we can do, like I'm in charge of. And so we're trying to find language that brings that to a balance where it is clear, but it also does not indicate that they're in charge of our county board or our department or anything like that. And sometimes that becomes a little clouded. So I won't go through each of these. If you have any questions, I certainly can address them, but they're pretty straightforward, just word changes that hopefully clarify that. So that's one section. And the other significant change, I'm sorry, stuffing up, is under Article 5, I believe, right? And section, where is it? Section D, and you'll see under D1 some crossed out lines. And this issue is that we've had people serving for a long time, especially on our advisory committee. I was there the night this came up, and some of them are just very willing to serve. We have vacancies, and their term was up, and so we had this talk with them, like, well, you really are supposed to kind of peel off and let somebody else do it. We don't have anybody else to do it, so that's an issue. They're willing to serve, and so the members were just pretty vocal about that. So we went back and wordsmithed this. I think the resting point that I support for the board to consider is that the incumbent may apply for reappointment. What that means to me is if there would be other people wanting to serve in this way, that they could be looked at, and the other person would have to reapply and say, hey, we have somebody else interested, let's give them a turn, and you can either go to a different board or reapply in the future. So I think it gives us that wiggle room to make adjustments as we need to, and I really do not expect it'll be an issue. We have not had what I would say conflict or a need for kind of a mechanism to move people through. They're all very willing to serve and take their roles actually quite seriously. So those are my action items, Mr. Chair.
All right, thank you, Phil. So just a little bit of discussion on that from my perspective. I understand hard to fill those positions, and you do end up trying to, if you can't fill it, what do you do?
Right.
I think this language would probably serve. We ran into the same thing on MRCI, I think, at one point. There's no term limits on that.
Yeah.
Some people were getting to be, on a long time, but they were still willing to serve. But we didn't have anybody else to backfill it anyways.
Right.
So it was either you go with an empty seat or you go with someone that's serving a little longer. So the only challenge it does create is if you do have somebody that's maybe just settling in just a little too much,
right,
and is starting to, I don't want to say cause issues,
right,
but starting to do stuff that makes it a little more difficult
for sure.
To have them step down, but that's something that can be dealt with at the board level.
Well, the board level, Mr. Chair, but also I think our staff can help with that too, because if we, in a sense, I mean, to neutralize that, I would just say if we need more recruits, we can spend more time recruiting. And so that's the way I think we could, as their term finishes, if we have somebody that can take their place, I think that would be the most seamless result if we could get ahead of that and know that somebody is causing, some disruption, or it might be time for them to step off for a while. We can make a more concerted effort to find somebody else.
So after they've used up their term, they would have to reapply?
Reapply, yes.
Commissioner?
But I think we have to recognize too that there's some new members that don't wanna step on any incumbent's toes. And if they, they wanna continue to do it, and they're gonna continue to be there, they're just not gonna reapply. We've seen that in extension in other places where we do have term limits, that you're not gonna, it's Minnesota nice, you're not going to challenge long time due. So, I mean, you could argue term limits back and forth.
Yeah.
I guess I'd like to know if we're somewhat consistent with this, or we have a lot of advisory boards and committees, things like that. Some have term limits, some do not. I think that's something we need to think about, because there's some people who just aren't gonna be interested until
Right.
there's an opening.
That is that issue. Commissioner?
To get off of that, go back into the interpreting service. I fully support Lingo One, but now with AI and the amount of usage that we have to interpret right through our cell phones, are we able to use those services? I mean, and we can't, of course, go to the personal service
Right.
people, but to actually use AI, and because nowadays you're finding apps that interpret word for word.
Right.
And I would support looking into that and looking to see if we can get some of those apps for the people that need it at Human Services.
Yeah, thank you, Commissioner. We have been talking about that quite a bit with regard to what was word processing, which some of you know well. We've really evolved away from that using technology, and so like in our mental health clinic, everything does use AI. We have made that change. I think we're maybe lagging behind a little bit in this regard, but what I would prefer just from my chair is an outfit like Lingua One would have that software and be able to do both. So in other words, if there's a problem or if it's not working, they sponsor the software, we could use them as the facilitator, because to have no intermediary, some of that, like with a medical record, it has to be approved level of service. And so when you're in a different language, the problem for us is we can't correct anything. So we would still need a vendor who could say, no, that's way off, or this isn't right.
You need to have proof that's what that person said.
Correct. But I think the combination of what you're saying, the future is what you're talking about, is we should use AI. I'm totally supportive of that. It's very cost effective, and I just think we would be my response to that. And then do it smart.
I can see the time when somebody's wearing hearing aids like I am, and just talking to somebody and being able to communicate back and forth. Whether that time is now or whether it's 10 years from now, I'm not sure, but I can see where that can happen.
Yes, absolutely.
Thank you. So, let's go back to this language on the term limits, just so we're all clear and understand what we're looking at here. I mean, again, Commissioner Pat brought up some good points, and again, I think those are the same struggles we had with MRCI, and we do have term limits there, because we never did it. We did not.
We're just going over, in fact, just yesterday, we're going over our
So I don't think we ever did change it.
and they're talking about 2-3 year terms.
Okay, because we never did change it at our level. It's just trying to find people.
I can foresee the problem that's gonna happen is just like what you're saying, and what's coming here is you're not going to get the people to replace them. And that's the problem I can see happen, unless but.
And I don't know what the makeup of the rest of our boards are. I think planning and zoning just changed to some term limits, I believe. They never did have term limits, but
I think they have term limits on the chair and vice chair.
Oh, that's right, yes. We didn't change the actual membership,
Right.
but we make it change the chairmanship, which, that just kind of gets everybody involved. So, I mean, I guess I do have some concerns about this, as Kevin brought up, but I think I'd be willing to support this, and we can always look at it again next year. I'm just worried about trying to fill these vacancies. Be my biggest issue. I could support this and try it for a year, I guess, and see how it works, but I don't know if that's something we all wanna do, or if we wanna roll this out, or?
Well, I can live with that as well, but I don't wanna get in the habit of changing operating guidelines 1 year back and forth.
Right.
If we're gonna make a change, let's make it. If we're not, let's leave it as is. I don't know how many people this affects.
Yeah. I think there's 3 in our committee, so, including our chair, Shanna. So.
Was there term limits on chair?
No, not for us. At least I don't think that our
I
language.
think that's something we need to look at then.
Oh, maybe that. And that's worked out really well at the P and Z level. I mean, not that having the same chair was bad, but just gets everybody involved and it just takes them to the next step. It's been working out pretty good at P and Z, so.
Mm-hmm.
So other recommendations, I mean, does the board member want to change this language a little bit, or do we want to just give it a try and see what happens, and maybe talk about the chairmanship portion of it? Need feedback from the committees. Are you comfortable with this language at this point for the year?
I think so.
Kevin?
Yep. I am, but I think if we're gonna change chairs on other committees and have that policy, we need to adopt that for this one, and I would ask that that be amended into this, that the chairs have term limits.
I support that.
Why don't you get connected with Michael and see how we did that, or Mark, whoever did it. I don't remember what how we did it, but it's, like I said, it's working out pretty well from my perspective. So.
And we know we'll have different chairs.
Yeah, at least that we have some movement there. So, talk
So,
about it amongst
Mr.
the
Chair,
committee.
would you like to table this particular item and allow for that change to be added in before you approve it, or do you want to approve it as presented and then have it come back? Just procedurally want to?
I'd be comfortable with approving this as written, and then we just direct staff to look into the chairman.
To
term
look
limits
in or
and
to
bring-
do it?
Or to do, if we
We'll
want
have
it done, just do it, yeah.
We'll have to bring it back here then. Yeah, we'll do that.
You'll talk with staff.
The amendment, yeah, well, if you pass what is, then we'll amend it to add what Michael has here.
Well, I will move to table so we know exactly what we're doing.
So we'll just pull this item out
Yep,
alone.
this,
All right.
yep.
So I got a motion to table
I'll second that.
the item on the discussion on the term limits. Will that create an issue, will that create an issue for you
It will.
before the end of the year, though?
Yeah, well, just if we were gonna move on the terms, so, that, right now as it's written, I think they should move off, you know, our chair should change, and we have a long-standing person that would be in the catchment of this issue too, so that's why. The membership, it did go to membership, our membership did talk about it, and they were the ones that said they wanted to allow for this, so that came from the people in the committee, not staff. But then our staff met and went through all the language, and that's what's proposed here. We did not talk about the chair itself, which I just have to say, being in that committee for a long time, is not an easy position to fill for us. It's just not. I will.
But if we never change, we don't know.
I'm wondering if we would have somebody willing to do it, is what I need to convey to you all, is that it's a hard position to fill just because some of the makeup, people are willing to be on the committee, they might not be willing to be chair. So I'm just saying that might be something we run into. I mean, all of it, you don't know until you try.
Let the committee figure it out.
All right, so we got a motion to table this portion.
Table the change, yep.
Yep, table the change. So you won't be able to reappoint some people then, right? Because they'll get their term limits for the
Right,
first
just
of the
because
year.
it's tabled, just because we need the language change in order to act on what we're
But
proposing.
we'll be able to act on this before they meet again.
We'll meet in January, so I'm just not sure what dates, but
Or
the
we meet
month
the
of.
first to reappoint.
I'm not sure when we meet for advisory.
Yeah, I think your third Thursday, mental health
you're
is
right.
third Thursday, we meet right away at the beginning of the month, so. All right. So at this time, we got a motion to table just so I'm clear, just the portion on we'll do all the other action items, right? We're just gonna table and we should hopefully be good before your next meeting,
Well,
so.
yeah, we'll roll with it.
All right, we got a motion and a second to table the discussion on the term limits. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. So now we'll back up to all the other action items that Phil presented.
I would
And-
move that.
Okay,
Second.
got a motion and a second to approve all of the other action items that Phil brought forward. Any discussion on any of them items? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. That's what
Thanks.
you got for us,
Thank you
Phil?
much. That's it.
All right,
That's
thank
it
you.
for me. Thank you. Good to see you. Take care.
Yep. Have a good day.
Good Christmas.
All right. Should we move down to administration? Josh?
Morning, Mr. Chair, Commissioners. The first item we have on the agenda is authorization for expenditure of opioid settlement funds. This is My Place Mankato, which is a non-profit here in Mankato that serves youth for after-school and summer programs, has requested $25,000 a year to fund a mental health specialist to provide services for youth in their program. Back in 2014, out of opioid settlement funds, we did approve some pilot funds as they looked at what it would look like for mental health programming. And after doing that and analyzing the data, this is where they're coming back, is to try to employ this mental health specialist. As you see at this point in time, there's a partnership with Mankato Clinic, Mayo Clinic, Medica. They also have an application in with the city of Mankato for their opioid funds as well to have this partnership to provide these services. Our committee met, felt this was a good use of funds. This is a organization in 2025 have served over 250 youth in that program and have, from what we've seen, some of the data being very successful. So the recommendation is that we'd approve the $75,000 over 3 years or $25,000 a year for My Place Mankato to provide mental health support in the facility.
I would move to approve.
Second.
We got a motion and a second. Any discussion?
My place does an amazing job. And, I'd be fully supportive of, they work with kids of all different, walks of life. And they work with a lot of kids with mental health issues, so this is a very positive, thing that we can do.
All right. Thank you for that. Any other questions or comments? Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
All right, and the second item we have is a board resolution to not object to the transfer of a parcel in the city of Mankato. Definitely some legalese that we're going through on this one that I think we've been working on for maybe 8 months to try to get this done. And really at the end of it said, hey, we need to get this done in 2025. So this is something between PER, City of Mankato, State of Minnesota, everyone came together to try to get this. But basically it's some land that was part of forfeited lands that City of Mankato now is trying to sell to Trellis. And really this is part of the supportive housing building that we're trying to get off the ground here that Blue Earth County has supported with ARP funds. So at this point in time, what I'm requesting is that the county board approve the attached resolution. And really what this resolution is the county is not objecting to the conveyance of this property to the city without conditions and without further act or obligation to the city. And has also resolved that the county waives any right to object to such conveyance within 60 days as set forth in Minnesota statutes. So that is the ask today for this one.
All right, you've heard the request.
Second it.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Josh? Move down into administration, item number 11.
Mr. Chair and Commissioners, the first item is County Board minutes for December 2nd.
I'll move the minutes.
Second.
Got a motion and a second for the minutes. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
Next are the bills for the 2 weeks indicated.
I'll move the bills.
Second.
Got a motion and a second for the bills. Any discussion, questions? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
Mr. Chair and Commissioners, tab 16 in your packet is the Human Resources Department agenda. Just have informational items for the board today. First, we have filled an on-call library clerk position at the library. Then we've received a resignation of a senior land use planner, and so we've initiated recruitment to fill a land use planner. So we've dropped the senior element off of that. We've also initiated recruitment for a land use specialist in our permitting area. Then we did fill a licensed practical nurse position. This is actually a newly created position to replace a registered nurse. So we're actually dropping the qualifications for that position as part of a budget reduction strategy. Then we did receive a resignation of a correctional officer, so we've initiated recruitment to fill that position. We also had a resignation of a deputy sheriff, and then resulting from that was a change in employment status from a temporary deputy sheriff to a deputy to fill that position. We'll not refill that temporary position. And then lastly, we had a resignation of an assistant county attorney too. So that's what I have for human resources. I'd be happy to answer any questions the board might have on any of those items.
Questions or comments? Okay, move on.
Tab 17 in your packet then is a resolution regarding the 2026 levy. This is required by Minnesota statute certifying the 2026 property tax levy. Our staff began working on the budget in April of this year. We had meetings with department heads that were scheduled in June and work sessions with the County Board of Commissioners, which occurred throughout this summer, resulting in a proposed levy of $51,901,870. The levy is an 8.5% increase over the levy that was assessed in 2025. So I'm recommending the 2026 property tax levy of $51,901,870 be certified to the Blue Earth County Finance Director.
Okay, thank you, Bob. For the wishes of the board.
Move to approve.
Second. Got a motion and a second. Any discussion on the levy? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
Item number 18 in your packet is the resolution related to the 2026 budget. Minnesota Statute 375A.06 requires the county administrator to prepare and submit an annual budget and a long-range capital expenditure program to the county board. As I mentioned previously, staff have been working on the budget since April, and it has been reviewed numerous times in work sessions with the county board. As such, I'm recommending the approval of a resolution regarding the 2026 budget, which projects expenditures at $136,533,092.
So moved.
Do I have a second? Any discussion? Again, many work sessions and truth and taxation hearing last week or a couple weeks ago with some feedback from the community, which was good. A lot of energy put into this. Thanks to Bob and his team and all the department heads for making this, putting this budget together, and had plenty of challenges when we started, and we're in a good place at this point.
Yeah, and I think people understand the challenges and maybe not always happy with the going up, but it's what it is.
All right, I have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
Tab 19 in your packet is a memo regarding salary adjustments. Our practice has generally been to approve general wage adjustments for all non-union employees, supervisors, county department heads, and elected officials that are the same as negotiated for our with our labor unions. This is a 3.5% general wage adjustment effective January 1st of 2026. The proposed county commissioner salary for 2026 will be $53,217 effective the 1st of January. And so I'm seeking board approval of the general wage adjustments stated above.
What wishes of the board?
I'll move it.
Second. Got a motion and a second for the salary adjustments. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
Item number 20 in your packet then is a memo regarding the per diem rate for 2026. Our employee reimbursement policy states that each year the county board establishes a per diem rate, and the various boards and commissions eligible for per diems. My recommendation this year is the same rates as for 2026, which are set at $100 per day, calculated at $60 per half day, where the start of the first meeting until the completion of the last meeting is 4.5 hours or less, and then more than 4.5 hours of time would be the $100 per diem.
So moved.
Motion of a second?
Second.
Second, discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
Item number 21 is a memo regarding the Emergency Management Performance Grant. The Sheriff's Office has been awarded a 2024 Emergency Management Performance Grant, which looks a little odd, 2024, but this particular grant is always delayed or kind of covers a back period. And so we have received this grant of $30,337 with an equal match requirement. This grant is effective January of 24 through June 30th of 26. So we're recommending approval of this grant.
I'll move
So-
it.
Second.
You got a motion and a second for the grant. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
Item number 22 in your packet then is the financial status report for November 30th. You'll see our total revenues sit at $163 million against expenses of $151.4 million. Our revenue is a little higher, largely because of the bonding that was done on the new Public Works facility, so that pushed our total revenue even above what our adopted budget was. Expenditures are running a little bit ahead of the budget. Again, we had expenditures related to the new Public Works department that came in a little quicker than expected because of the progress that we had on that facility. So we will probably be over our expenditure budget at the end of the year, but again, it was a timing issue to a large extent. Going back up to the revenue, state and federal revenue sits at $46.8 million, which is above our projection. So we are seeing that revenue come in a little quicker than anticipated. Our interest on investments is down a little bit from last year, but is exceeding our budget by a substantial amount. Our transportation sales tax revenue is a little under our projection, but it has improved, I would say, in the last half of this year. So it's not as bad as what it was looking like earlier this year. Our public aid expenditures, assistance expenditures are about right on budget. That had been a little lower, but we did see an increase recently in some of those. And our personnel services line, our salary and benefits and other staff-related costs are just slightly under budget. So some of our efforts to reduce staff and manage those costs have been paying off. So overall, sitting in a good place at the 11th month of our fiscal year. Under the enterprise fund of the Ponderosa landfill, total revenues sit at $5.5 million against $3.4 million of expenditures. So again, without significant cell or land improvements or large machinery costs, that particular enterprise fund is doing well this year. The second page then has our cash and investment balances. Our total available funds towards the top of the page sits at 91.6 million against a target of 74.3. Again, the bonding money that we received recently has pushed up that number a little bit, but will be used for the Public Works facility. Little further down the page, then you'll see our total county funds with all the dedicated funds included, sitting at 153.5 million. That's all I maybe have on this report, unless the board has specific questions you'd like me to address.
Any questions or comments on the finance? All right, that looks like that brings me to the end of our agenda. We will do some committee reports from commissioners. Patty, I will start with you.
Alrighty. December 2nd, we had our work session and, of course, our budget meeting that evening. On the 3rd was department heads, and then I had Region 9. On the 4th was the public safety pre-conference call with AMC and township, the meeting with the townships that evening. And headed up to AMC on the 7th, came home on the 10th. Attended all those meetings. And then on the 11th, I had a meeting with the new NACO staff for my committee, my FIGA committee, and attended the Inside Washington NACO call. And had my NACO FIGA committee yesterday, and that's my report.
All right, thank you, Commissioner. Vance?
All right, well, I also attended the work session after our last board meeting. I had a NACO membership committee meeting that afternoon, and then of course our budget meeting that evening. On the 3rd, I had a AMC transportation pre-conference meeting to get us ready for the conference, and then the department head meeting after that. On the 4th, I had a Towards Zero Death Steering Committee meeting, and I also attended the township officials meeting, annual meeting that evening. I also went up on the 7th to the AMC annual meeting and came back on the 10th. On the 11th, I had a Transportation Alliance legislative meeting. And yesterday, I had an MRCI Finance Committee meeting and an MRCI board meeting. And that's the end of my report.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner. Mark?
Okay, December 2nd, at the county board work session, and then on December 4th, had a special partners meeting, affordable housing, and then on December 5th, had a CIMRICS meeting in Dodge County, and then on the 9th, we had a collaborative discussion on funding for a year-round emergency shelter, and Andrew Peach was kind of headed that up with the discussion with it was with the Partners for Housing, and it was with the Connections, and then also with the Salvation Army, and looking for, and it's progressing slowly, but yeah, looking for, I think they're trying to find a place for all of them to work with, and collaborating in a better manner than they've been in the past. Then December 10th did have an online MICA meeting, and then December 12th had an All Seasons Arena meeting, and that concludes my report, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Commissioner. Kevin?
I too attended the work session and budget meeting on the 2nd, as well as the AMC conference. Additionally, December 3rd, attended the drainage meeting at the Minnesota Watersheds. On the 11th, we had SWCD. December 12th was CD 51 and JD 32 landowner meetings. And then yesterday morning, we had the Blue Earth One Watershed, One Plan meeting in the morning where we approved, sending, our report to Bowser. That was the one here at the meeting not that long ago. We approved, to sign on. And then in the afternoon, we had the Minnesota River One Watershed One plan. First started with a hearing, and then after the hearing, had policy committee where the committee approved the comments that had been submitted and also approved sending it to the county board. So we will see the Minnesota River plan at this board meeting in January, I'm assuming. That concludes my report.
All right, thank you, Commissioner. And as was already mentioned, the work session had planning and zoning drainage meeting that afternoon. Kevin, you missed that one with all your
I
other
did. I'm
drainage
sorry,
stuff.
yep.
You got a lot of drainage stuff the last couple weeks. Truth and taxation, department head was mentioned, planning and zoning, which we've already seen. Had my ledge meeting, everything's going relatively good there, getting spooled up for the next legislative session, trying to change some policies and timelines. Township officers meeting was mentioned. Went to the MCIT annual meeting up in the cities. The only thing I will mention there is that the rates are going up a little bit because of the reinsurance. It's getting very, very expensive from my understanding. Steve took over as the new executive director, who I think will do a great job. I've really enjoyed working with him for years. He's been with us in that system for 32 years, and he'll do a great job leading that organization forward. Then had two landowner informational meetings, CD 88 and 93, back to back, both big projects, and I'm glad we're having informational meetings on that one because those are going to be complicated. As Mark mentioned, we were at MICA online, and then Kevin mentioned SWCD, and that's the end of my report for today. So, anything else for the good of the order? Otherwise, I would entertain a motion to recess.
So moved.
Second.
Got a motion and a second to recess. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. We are recessed.